Hi, I'm Scott Flowers with Cloud Ninjas. Today we're here to continue our series on the Dell PowerEdge R650 server. In this video, we're going to specifically focus on drives. Let's get going. Hey, thanks for stopping by today to learn a little bit more about the Dell PowerEdge R650 server. Do us a favor, if you find anything that helps you in this video, click that like and smash that subscribe. All right, we'll top in. This video is going to be specifically dedicated to drives. We're going to go over both hard drives and solid state drives. What we're going to do in this video as a whole is we're going to go over the different types of compatible drives with the R650 server, the max speeds, the max sizes. Then we're going to show you how to install them, which is super easy because they're hot swap. And then at the end, we're going to show you two testing tools that we're big fans of. One is known as HD Sentinel, which is great for testing power on hours and health scores. And then the other is Dell Diagnostics, which will test not only your drives, but your whole system as a whole, just to make sure it's in good health. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's hop in. All right, so let's start with what types of drives are compatible with the R650 server. Well, there's 5 types of drives. There's gonna be 2 on the hard drive side, SATA and SAS. And then on the solid state drive side, there's gonna be 3. You're gonna have SATA and SAS again, and then you're gonna have NVMe. So those are gonna be the 5 types of drives that are compatible with the R650 server. So let's talk about speeds. The speeds will depend on the type of drive that you have. So if you have a SATA hard drive, it's going to be 7.2K. There's technically some oddball ones like 5400 for the surveillance industry that'll go a little bit slower, and there's some 10K, the old Raptor ones, but realistically 99+% of the SATA drives are going to be 7.2K for the enterprise side for the hard drives. Now when it comes to SAS, that's going to be a little bit different. You can get 7.2K, but you can get faster speeds, and that's the big advantage for a SAS hard drive is you can get 10K or 15K, so it will be faster than a SATA hard drive. But the real advantage overall is going to be solid state drives. We always tell people if you want to extend the life and just make your 650 a little bit more useful and have a better performance, upgrade from a hard drive to a solid state drive. That's going to be one of the best band-aids that you can put on your 650 just to extend it for a few more years. And the solid state drives not only are going to be better performance because they're so much faster, they're also going to be more reliable as well. So solid state drives is one of the things we always recommend. So now when we talk about speeds for solid state drives, for a SATA solid state drive, it's going to be 6 gigs per second. For a SAS, it's going to be 12, and for NVMe, it's going to be 16. So that's the big winner there is NVMe is the fastest by far, and it's going to be Gen 4 for NVMe. So let's talk about the max size drives that you can put into the R650 server. I'm sure that's what a lot of people came here to see. Well, that depends on the type of chassis that you have. There's different types of chassis. Some are going to be a large form factor configuration, and some of them are going to be a small form factor. So, and that's one of the things I did want to note for NVMe, that will only be eligible for your 8-bay and your 10-bay small form factor. You can't do that with the large form factor. So NVMe, just note that you do have to have a specific type of chassis in order to use NVMe. So, all right, so let's talk about the sizes of the drives. Well, if you have a 2.5 inch or a small form factor chassis, a SATA hard drive can get up to 2 terabytes. A SAS hard drive can get up to 2.4 terabytes. So there's not a lot of scalability on the hard drive side for a 2.5 inch chassis. And I feel like most people who are using the small form factor chassis are going to go to a solid state drive. And for a solid state drive, you can get, according to Dell spec sheet, 3.84 terabytes for a SATA SSD and 15.36 for a SAS SSD and 7.68 for an NVMe. And we've played around with it, and we can actually get 7.68 for a SATA SSD. The 15.36 is correct for the SAS, and we were only able to get 7.68 for the NVMe as well. So those are the maxes that we played around with and found on the solid state drive side. All right, let's talk about the large form factor drives. A lot of people who are using the large form factor chassis are trying to get a nice, relatively cheap solution for storage, and so they want to shove in larger hard drives, and that is a very common thing. So on a 3.5 inch SATA drive, according to Dell, you can get 18 terabytes, and same for SAS, 18 terabytes. Well, we played around and we've actually been able to put in higher, so we put in 20 terabytes for SATA and 22 for SAS. And do me a favor, if you're at home, if you've put something bigger in, or something bigger comes out in the future, and now there's 30 terabyte drives that are out and they work, hey, drop a comment down below. People will love to hear that, and just keep this video relevant for everybody. All right, now that we know a little bit more about the types of drives, the sizes, the speeds, let me show you how to physically install them. But before we do, grab my ESD gear. Be right back. All right, I have my ESD gear on. We're safe to work on our machine. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove our bezel. If you have one at home, you're just going to push this button, and this will just come right out and just pull out from there. And now we'll have access to our drives. So we're going to want to remove this old hard drive here, and we are going to upgrade it to a solid state drive. So this is going to be a pretty simple install overall. You're just going to push the red circle. I'm just going to pop open your tray. I'm just going to slide this out, nice and simple. So this is just an old 1.8 TB SAS drive, and we're going to be upgrading this to a 1.92 TB SATA SSD. So it's relatively the same storage, but this is essentially for speed for this customer. They just want a faster drive. Once you line this up, sometimes it'll get stuck right here. Mine isn't doing it, and I'm going to be fine too. Actually, mine is doing it. So when this happens, there's a little spring in here that you just push forward, and this will allow you to get it all the way. So this does happen sometimes. I was going to show you if it didn't happen, then it did happen, so it worked out. But sometimes it'll happen. You'll be wondering, why can't I get this fully in here? And it just gets stuck just a little bit right there. And there's just this little spring right in the middle, and when it happens, you're just literally going to push it up a little bit, and that's all you got to do. So again, I'll do it one more time. We'll just line everything up. When it gets stuck right there, we're just going to push this in. Do it one more time, and we're good to go. And it's that easy to install and upgrade to an SSD. So if you're looking to do this, it's again a relatively easy install. And if you need any help, you can definitely reach out to our sales team and our support team, and we can definitely help you. And next, what we're gonna do is show you how to use two really awesome testing tools that we like.
Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to test your hard drives and solid state drives with Dell Diagnostics and HD Sentinel. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to go ahead and get started with Dell Diagnostics. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and boot up your server. Once you boot up your server, you want to go ahead and press F10, and this will go ahead and bring us into the lifecycle controller. Once we're in lifecycle controller, we can go ahead and scroll down to where it says Hardware Diagnostics. And then we want to go ahead and click on Run Hardware Diagnostics. And then you'll get this little warning right here. So it's just going to say it's going to take several minutes, so we can go ahead and accept that. And this will load us into Dell Diagnostics. So actually getting into Dell Diagnostics and actually running the test is pretty simple. So we're just going to let these tests run, and these tests can take several minutes up to several hours. So go ahead and just wait this out, but it's just going to go ahead and run through all of these tests. And at the bottom, you can pause these tests if you want. And then you can also see like what test specifically is running at that current time, an estimate of how much time is left for that test. So like I said, these tests are going to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward. So once that final test has stopped running, it'll go ahead and stop. And then we will get a message that pops up on the screen that says success. So this means all of our tests have passed. If you had any issues, then you would get an alternative message saying like, hey, these tests failed. And at the very end here, we can actually view all of the information, all the different tests that were ran. And this screen's a little bit more similar as to something we'd see on 12th gen and 13th gen PowerEdge servers. But yeah, we can go through here, see all the test results for each individual test, which is pretty neat. Information about the system health, configuration, and we can even go into the event log, which is pretty useful. So that is how we do Dell Diagnostics and how we can test our hard drives, but also, everything else in our system. And if you really want to see if your system is healthy, then go ahead and run Dell Diagnostics. It'll give you a lot of information if all the components are working the way that they should. So now I'm going to show you how to test your hard drives with HD Sentinel. Alrighty guys, so I have HD Sentinel pulled up right now, and as you can see, we currently have 2 drives plugged in. We have this installed into a storage array where we like to plug in multiple drives at a time so we can test those drives. HD Sentinel is an awesome tool because you can see things like the power on hours, which is great, especially when you're buying used equipment. You can see how long that drive has been in use. You don't want to be using drives that have been, heavily used, because then you have a higher risk of drive failure. And that's one of the reasons why HD Sentinel is such a cool tool. But as you can see, we can just go ahead and plug a drive into the array, and it'll automatically populate within the software. Like I said, lots of information. It'll give you health scores of the drives. As you can see, the 2 we have up top, they have 100% health score, while the one at the bottom has a 99%. So all pretty good. So I hope you guys found this video useful, and if you did, go ahead, smash the subscribe and leave a like. If you're interested in purchasing a custom built server, or you're looking to buy some drives, we do have plenty of those in stock, so you can go reach out to us at sales@cloudninjas.com. sales@cloudninjas.com.